I will go ahead and call the October 30th, 2025 Hearings Officer meeting to order at 2 p.m. My name is Marcia Birch, and I'll be serving as the TRPA Hearings Officer today. All right, my first item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Have there been any changes?
There have been no changes to the agenda.
All right, hearing none, I will approve the agenda as it was posted. Item 3, public interest comments for no action. Any member of the public who wishes to address the hearings officer on any item that is not listed as a public hearing item on the agenda may do so at this time. Public comments on any public hearing item will be taken at the time those agenda items are heard. The hearings officer is prohibited by law from taking immediate action on or discussing issues raised by the public that are not listed on the agenda. All right, do we have anyone in the room who would like to have a public comment?
Well, let me ask, any member of the public wishing to comment at this time, please speak up now. There are no members of the public wishing to comment at this time. Let me ask online.
All right.
Any members of the public online, if you wish to make a comment, please raise your hand by clicking on the raised hand button at the bottom of your Zoom screen. There are no hands raised to comment.
All right, then I will go ahead and close the public interest comment portion of the meeting. And I will announce appeal rights. Any decision of the hearings officer is appealable to the TRPA governing board. The notice of appeal, which can be found on TRPA's website, and associated fees must be filed within 21 days of the hearings officer's decision. All right, so we will go on to the public hearing items. We have 3 items on the agenda today. And we will start with the Springmeyer Family Limited Partnership Land Capability Challenge. No address, El Dorado County, California. Assessor's parcel number 030-321-003. TRPA file number LCAP 2025-0256. All right, and this is Julie Roll's item.
Yes, hi, this is Julie Roll, Senior Planner with TRPA. And as Marcia said, this is the Land Capability Challenge. It's for a very large parcel, nearly 162 acres in size in El Dorado County. And the challenge was reviewed on behalf of TRPA by our soils consultant, Marshall Munike. And based on her evaluation, staff recommends changing the land capability from class 5 to classes 4 and 6, as well as adjusting the land area for the class 1A and 1B that was already existing. And as you can tell on the site plan, it's a bit of a complicated site. So we do have Marcel on the phone, so she can provide some more details about the project.
All right, thank you.
Hi, this is Marshall. Yeah, this is a large and relatively large, complex topography of landscape in this area. If you can see on the topo, there's some very steep areas that were originally mapped as Tahoe rock outcrop, which is very shallow soil. And then lower down, it was mapped as class 5 Talak, but an LCV hadn't been completed yet. So most of that was actually class 3 based on slopes. And so that's why they decided to go for a challenge in part because it was class 3, not 5, really. About 10 soil pits were completed by Phil Scholes across this parcel and consistently found deep soils. They're all pretty similar with deep sandy soils, with only one was within the SEZ area and had redoxomorphic features and signs of wetness. So most of the area was considered to be deeper than Tahoe, or it was not Talak because we didn't find any silica cemented horizon at depth, which would have been root restrictive and perched water table. So these soils turned out to be higher capability on the upland areas. And then the SEZ areas were largely mapped by drainage features such as, obvious channel or willow vegetation, primary vegetation with occasional soil pits supplementing, but largely they were mapped by the presence of wetland vegetation. So yeah, I think that's about it. If you have any question.
Yeah, I don't have any questions, Marshall. Thank you for that. I did read through the staff report. It is a big site, but I mean, I understood the rationale for the changes that you made. Julie, have we received any public comments on this?
No, we have not.
Okay. All right, then let's go ahead and open this up to public comment. Jessica, you can start in the room and then go ahead online.
Okay, so any member of the public in the room wishing to comment, please raise your hand. Or please come up to the table and comment, make your comment now. I'll go online. Any member of the public online wishing to comment, please raise your hand by clicking on the raised hand button at the bottom of the Zoom screen. I saw Phil School's hand just went up. He maybe would like to comment.
Yes, that would be great.
He's representing the applicant.
Okay.
Phil, go ahead.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Oh, excellent. Yes, I'm here on behalf of the applicant. I did the field work a couple of years ago, in fact, right before the Caldor fire. But the fire itself didn't change any of the outcome because, one, it wasn't a really hot burn through this particular area, and soil conditions remained unchanged. This did have its challenges, but mainly because it was just a really, really big site. And what Marshall mentioned about the deeper soils, this is what has been a common experience on a lot of sites that have granite as the parent material, which is that there are a lot of areas that are deeper soils than what was originally mapped for these areas. And so this would be the cast ice series under the new soil survey. But since we're not using that yet, they came out as essentially an unnamed inclusion or what's labeled as a XXX type soil. But I
Thank you,
would like to
Phil.
thank Marshall, who had to walk around this really big site up and down some steep slopes at very high elevations. But it does have a very pretty location next to a meadow, so there is some reward for that.
Well, thank you, Phil. Is there anyone else who would like to say some words on behalf of the applicant?
There are no other hands raised.
Okay. Thank you, Phil. I appreciate that. You and Marshall have both described this all really well. I don't have any additional questions. It sounds like there are no comments online. Jessica?
That's correct. There are no hands raised to comment.
All right, then I will go ahead and close the public comment. And I will take action and approve the proposed land capability challenge as it was presented in the staff report. All right, so that brings us to item 5B, the Garten Land Capability Challenge 5245 Westlake Boulevard, Placer County, California, assessors parcel number 097-140-005, TRPA file number LCAP 2025-0130. And this is also Julie's item.
Hi, yes, this is Julie Roll again, and yes, another land capability challenge. This was also reviewed by Marshall Monarchy on behalf of TRPA. And based on her evaluation, staff is recommending a change from land capability class 5 to class 7. And again, I'm going to turn it over to Marshall to provide some more details.
All right, thank you.
Sorry, you can get the mute button there. Sorry, it's Marshall again. Yeah, this is a much simpler site, as you can see from the photos. It's nearly level property next to Lake Tahoe in Homewood area across to the west side of Highway 89. So there's very little variation in the topography. And one soil pit was excavated by backhoe and it did not have it was mapped originally as TLAC class 5, and it did not have the silica cemented horizon at depth. It also, it was more like a jabu soil. It has finer textures and argillic soil development, but it didn't have a fragipan. It didn't have any redox in the soil indicating any kind of water wetness, infiltration issues, permeability issues. So, and it's not a Gefo or Elmira, other common soils in those flat lake terrace soils, but it has too fine of textures for to be those soils, and it has the argillic soil development as well. So it became an XXS, but 7 is the equivalent. They ended up calling it class 7, which is the same 30% coverage. And that's about it for that one.
All right, thank you, Marshall. Julie, did we receive any public comments on this one?
No public comments.
Okay. Is there anyone who would like to speak on behalf of the applicant?
Yes, this is Tony Matta with Ogilvy Consulting. We don't really have any comments to add, except that we were on site during Marshall and Sid's evaluation, and otherwise we concur with staff's recommendation that's noted in the report.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Jessica, let's go ahead and open this up for public comment in the room and then online.
Okay. Any member of the public in the room wishing to comment on this item, please come up to the table and do so now. There are no members of the public in the room wishing to comment. I will ask online. Any member of the public online wishing to comment, please raise your hand now by clicking on the raise hand button at the bottom of your Zoom screen. There are no hands raised to comment on this item.
All right, thank you, Jessica. I don't have any other questions. We'll go ahead and close the public hearing on this item. And I will take action and approve the proposed land capability challenge as presented in the staff report. All right, we have one more item on our public hearing items. This is item 5C, Schmidt Residential Accessory Structures Reconstruction, 919 Lake Road, South Lake Tahoe, California, assessor's parcel number 029-091-014, TRPA file number ERSP 2025-0265. And I believe this was Jen's item, but Allie might be taking over.
That's correct. Yes, this is Allie
All right.
Ross. Yep, and I am going to represent this project today as the hearings officer.
Thank you.
And yes, no problem. So this project includes the demolition and reconstruction of 3 historic tent cabins located in the Tahoe Meadows Historic District. The existing and proposed cabins are constructed with a wood frame and canvas roof and siding. The cabins are accessory to an existing single-family dwelling located on the parcel. No alterations or modifications to existing residence, driveway, utilities, detached garage are proposed. As part of this project, no tree removal will be associated with this project, and grading will be minimal. That's the project description.
All right. Thank you. And have we received any public comments?
We have not received any public comment, but we do have the homeowner here, Mr. Schmidt. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so I think the staff report was quite thorough. I don't have any questions about the project itself or, you know, what is being planned. I do have a question about the findings for so this is for 67. This is the findings under chapter 67. It
Yep.
appears to me that we do need to make a finding. And I believe that the finding is that the reconstruction is going to follow the Secretary of Interior's guidelines, you know, for the
That's
use of the material. And in the proposed findings that are attached under the historic 67.5, it just says none.
Oh,
So I'm curious about the finding for the designated historic resource. I believe it can be made. I just want to correct that in the record before we do make that finding.
That sounds like a good idea. This was the only findings document provided by Jen, correct?
correct.
Okay. All right, well, let me, kind of read through this real quick.
I can step in
Okay,
as well. This is Jack Mensick, Assistant Attorney, at TRPA. I spoke with Jen Self, a little bit and clarified this issue, and, she pointed out, she explained, and it's indicated a little bit in the staff report that, there no additional mitigation will be required in the form of like a historic resource recovery plan, which is usually what we do require in these situations. So under 67.7.2, the reconstruction of this historic resource will be done in accordance with 67.7.4, because the reconstruction will be in accordance with the Secretary of the Interior's standards for the treatment of historic properties. And then also pursuant to 67.7.3A, and for similar reasons, Jen concluded that the action will not be detrimental to the historic significance of the resource by virtue of its compliance with 67.7.2 and 67.7.4. So that was the explanation that Jen gave me, and if that is helpful to put on the record in order to make the required finding, then I hope it is.
It is. So what Jack just described, that is the finding under chapter 67. So where under historic, there where it says 67.5, none, I would like to include a chapter 67 finding. And we can use the record and Jack just described the basis for those chapter 67 findings. So I can move forward with approving this, but we will need to include that finding in the record.
Okay.
okay, so that means we will type that up and include it or transcribe this?
Yes, so why don't we go ahead and do this? I mean, we have plenty of time. So let's go ahead and so for chapter 67, the findings will be that the reconstruction, Jack, you put it so well. I don't know if you have notes to that effect.
I can, this is Jack Mensick, I can type up some language to include, which will be along the lines of what I just said, that the reconstruction of the historic resource may proceed because the action will not be detrimental to the historic significance of the resource by virtue of its reconstruction in conformance with the Secretary of the Interior standards under 67.7.2, 67.7.3A, and 67.7.4. So
All right.
you
That-
will have a.
that was- That was concise. So if we include as a finding in the record, what Jack just described in the compliance with our chapter 67 requirements. After reviewing the staff report, I think that it does comply with those chapter 67 requirements for the reasons that Jack just described. But the finding itself that was attached to the staff report didn't include that. So with that inclusion, let's go ahead and move forward and see if there's anyone. I don't have any additional questions. Did we receive public comments?
There were no public comments received for this item.
All right, so let's go ahead and open this for anyone who would like to speak on behalf of the applicant.
Mr. Schmidt, would you like to make a statement?
Sure, I am the applicant. My name is William Schmidt, and this is an historic property that has been owned by our family for nearly 100 years. And these 10 cabins have been constructed originally by my father and my grandfather. As a little kid, my brothers and sisters and I would come up and stay for parts of the summer in the 10 cabins. There were 2 cots in each of 3 tent cabins, 6 kids in the family. So we all had a place to stay. We came up to Tahoe. In the ensuing 90 years since they were constructed, the weather has taken a toll on these, and they really do need to be completely rehabilitated. And we do want to do this in full compliance with the Secretary of Interior policy about historic reconstruction. And so I would very much appreciate the work that you've done and seeing that this would be approved by the TRPA.
All right, thank you, Mr. Schmidt. Okay, do we have any public comment?
There are no more members of the public in the room and no members of the public online.
Oh, okay. Well, then I will close the public comment. And I will take action on the project. I will approve the required findings as they have been amended during this meeting, including a finding of no significant effect, and approve the project subject to the conditions in the draft permit. All right, and that's our last item. So I will go ahead and adjourn the meeting. It is 2:23 p.m.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.